Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. This is just one of the mini tutorials to go in my Bag Makers 101 playlist. In that playlist you will find short videos on how to do little things like zippers with overlays, how to make handles, all that. You will have seen those in all of my tutorials. They're the mini classes of techniques that may help you in your bag making journey. Today I am doing the highly requested tutorial on how I OdiCoat. So what OdiCoat is I like to use it on cotton fabrics, and what it does, I've done it on this bag here, is it waterproofs your cotton fabric and kind of gives it this vinyl feel to it. So I chose to do it on this bag. I don't do it on all of my cotton pieces. I do it on the ones that primarily have light colors and may get dirty. So this makes it very easy for my clients to clean. They can just take a damp cloth to this and wipe it away. It also makes it so you could launder the product. I mean, of course, you got to be careful if you're using vinyls and everything in your bag, but if you're doing an all cotton bag, it makes it so you can also launder it. So it's a really, really cool product. I don't know if you can hear that. Kind of gives it that vinyl-y sound. It gives it a nice smooth finish and kind of a nice shine. So this is what I use. I buy mine from Emmeline Bags. Yeah, how about we get to showing you how I do the OdiCoat. So one thing you want to do is make sure you put down a piece of parchment or freezer paper to protect your surface, because this is almost like a glue and it will stick to your surface. Where if you use parchment or freezer paper, it'll peel off easy. That's all good. One thing you want to make sure you do is if you're doing any kind of fusible interfacing, in this project I actually have an EB Fuse Light, which is a woven interfacing, and then on top of that I have fusible fleece. That's for the dandelion bag that we are making in our classes. So you want to make sure that you fuse those on the back first, because you don't want to be fusing stuff on when we have a completed side of this. It may be okay to do, but I know that I never want to risk losing that finish that we are going to create with the OdiCoat. Now, there's a couple ways of doing this. If you're worried about your fabric shrinking, you may want to cut your fabric pieces a little bit larger, because this could cause a little bit of shrinkage, and then you can put your pattern piece on top and then you can cut it out of the finished project. This cotton has already been pre-washed and pre-shrunk, so I know it's good. So I actually have it cut to where I need it to be. So use your own judgment. There's been times where I haven't shrunk I've forgotten to pre-wash my fabric and I haven't pre-shrunk it, and it's worked out fine anyways. It doesn't shrink that much. So we're going to do this in 3 stages. So when you get your OdiCoat, you get kind of like this credit card thing. OdiCoat is a gel-like substance. You don't need very much at all. You're going to just dip your card in, and we are going to end up doing 3 layers for this. So between the first and the second layer, you need to let it dry for 1 hour. So this first layer, make sure you have like any kind of, if you have pet hair or anything in there, you want to make sure there's no fluff or anything. Otherwise it's going to become one with the fabric. Cuckoo saying hi to you guys. So just take a little bit. This little bit here will probably do this whole piece. And for this one, we're going to work from a left to right motion. So I always start at the top and I just kind of spread it out. Kind of grab the excess as we go, and you can kind of see how it's making it nice and wet. Make sure you're getting right into the ends and kind of scrape off the excess. You can still see I have quite a bit on there. You don't need very much at all. You want to make sure, you can kind of see here I have like little lines of it. You want to make sure that you're scraping all of that away. Just putting a very, very thin layer. This layer kind of absorbs into the fabric. And again, just working left to right. Again, making sure it's going on nice and smooth. And there's no ridges in there. If there's a little bit of ridges in there, when we go to set this, it will take them away mostly, but you want to try not to have any excess product in those lines. But as you can see, you don't need very much product. Work your way down, covering it as even as you can, making sure no fluff gets in there. This fabric is nice because it's actually darker and you can actually see where I have put the OdiCoat on. So it's good for this video to be able to show that on here. I'm not wearing my wedding rings because this stuff does get sticky and I don't want to get it on my rings by accident. Don't get it on your clothes, you will be sad. So pretty much want to saturate it pretty good in there with that thin layer. You can see it's pretty wet. Again, just working in one direction. Getting rid of all of that excess. You can see I'm still picking up some excess on there. See, it stuck to my finger. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to let that dry for 1 hour. Put a little bit more there. And then we will come back and we will do the second layer. So 1 hour to let this completely dry. All right, so an hour has passed. It is completely dry. I'm just kind of pulling it up. You can see it does stick a little. Now what we're going to do is the exact same thing again. Oh, look, I got some fluff on it. I can kind of scrape that off a little bit now, I guess. It's all good. We're going to kind of switch it around this way. Actually, I guess it doesn't really matter. I find it's easier to switch it around this way. And we are going to do our second layer, except for, okay, we went this way. Now we're going to go up and down. So I'm just going to flip it this way because I find it easier to go left to right. So you just want to make sure you're going the opposite direction. So do the exact same thing again. You're going to grab some OdiCoat, just some of the gel. And when you're going the opposite direction like this, it's filling in those holes that maybe were missed going this way. So make sure you're getting all the way to those ends. Grabbing that extra product. Now you will tell that the OdiCoat does have a very slight odor to it, but it doesn't make the fabric smell once it's dry. There's Coco saying hi to the mail lady. I apologize for that. Again, we are recording this live. I'm not doing voiceover for this part. Again, making sure it's nice and even and we don't have any excess product in stripes. It's not hard to do at all. Just a little bit time consuming, but so worth it when it comes to waterproofing that fabric and making it so it's easy to clean. And then it gives it just that little bit, I don't know, a really nice quality to it. Makes it feel like a light vinyl. I find anyways. That's my opinion. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of scrape it off into my thing here, have a clean card, and just go over it, taking off any excess that may be there. A little bit of fluff there. There we go, got it out. All right, and then we are going to let that sit for another hour to dry. Okay, so now an hour has passed. You can see it's completely dry. Pull it away from the paper. You'll see it kind of sticks. You could probably see some of the glue hanging out here. Just kind of pull it away. Make sure it doesn't get onto the front. Now what we're going to do is we are going to be putting the OdiCoat on in a final direction. So I kind of have it going sideways like this, and we are going to work from the left to the right on this diagonal. So once again, take some of your OdiCoat gel, starting at the top, and swipe it left to right. From the top all the way to the bottom. And you're going to notice it is not absorbing as much because we have pretty much saturated our fabric with the first two coats. And this is the final coat that is going to give it that really nice, shiny, vinyl type look once we're all done when we end up
pressing this in the end. So again, keep brushing away the excess as you go. You don't want to have any, you can kind of see how there's the chunky streaks there. Make sure there's no fluff or fabric that's getting in there, because that'll just stick it to the fabric. Work your way across. I'm just kind of going back over top of it just to remove any excess product, to remove those kind of card streaks that happen. Making sure you're getting all of the ends. I said it's a little bit of a long process. It's mainly just the drying that takes a while, but it's definitely worth it for the waterproofing of your fabrics and to make them easy to clean later, especially when they're in a bag and you can't necessarily launder it. But again, if it's an all cotton bag, this makes it so you can launder it. So once you get it all kind of coated out, what I'm going to do is just kind of go back over with the card slot. I'm going to wipe off any kind of excess I have hanging out on the card, put it back in here to save any of that gel, and then just start at the top and kind of scrape away any other excess that may be there. You do not want any of those streaks on this final one because they may show once we are all done. And then you can see I got a little bit of excess on there, so it's good that we went back over. And now we are going to let this dry for 24 hours, and then we'll come back in 24 hours, and I'll show you how to set this with a dry iron.
Okay, so I've taken it off of the parchment paper. This is 24 hours later. You can see it's kind of already got a shine to it, but it's got a rough surface. So first thing you want to do is, like where there's chunks of this extra, you want to make sure you're kind of pulling those off, because you don't want them to get into like here and here, because we don't want it to end up getting pressed into this when we go to set this and have it waterproof. So kind of just make sure you don't have any excess hanging over that came from the sides, like so. And then we're going to take some more parchment paper. We're going to put one underneath to protect our ironing surface, because I mean, you can kind of see that it did soak through the back here a little bit. It is still fuzzy, but we don't want to accidentally set that OdiCoat onto the surface, especially our wool mat. And then we're going to take another one and put it right over top, like so. Then you are going to take your iron. You do not want the steam, so no steam. I had to figure out how to turn the steam off of my steam iron. And then you're going to just iron over top of this in small circles. You want to make sure you keep it moving. Make sure you're going all the way to the edges. And what this is doing is it's making that surface nice and smooth. It is setting it in. It is completing the waterproofing process. Let's take a look at what we have now. It's hot. So it's looking pretty good. It's still feeling a little bit rough, so I'm going to go over it again. I think it said it works best if you kind of do it in one place for about 30 seconds, 20-30 seconds, and then move over to the next. Want to make sure you're getting right to the ends. Okay, let's take another look. Oh yes, that is nice and smooth. Ooh, it's hot still. You don't feel any of the roughness of the OdiCoat anymore. You can see how it's changed the thickness So it's almost more vinyl-y, and you can see the shine that it gives to it. So that is so pretty. That is the whole OdiCoat process. I hope you guys like this. If you did, please be sure to give me a thumbs up for this video, and I will be adding this into the Bag Makers 101 playlist of all the basic things that you need to know for bag making. So this will be added into that. I hope you like it, and I will see you guys on the next one.